Hi friends, my name is Borrodante. Let's animate that ball. So, the time has come. I don't know why I can't stop laughing. I guess I'm very excited to try animation. Using Krita, of course, because this is like the best and the easiest to start working with software for raster animation, for actual frame-by-frame BMP animation, and not some vector weird stuff. So yeah, as you can see, I transformed the interface. I chose animation from here, so it changed a lot. So we have a background layer and we have a transparent layer on top. I tried it a little bit. I don't know any hotkeys yet for creating new frames and removing them, moving in between them. Maybe there are none, like we should set them up, but it's not gonna be in this episode. Let's just give it a go with animating a bouncing ball. So the first frame, I remember what it said, like, do I just start drawing? Nope, not just it. So I create a new frame. Is this the best way to start it? There we go, and there's like a light bulb. That's an indicator of animation, which is not a thing yet because we have one frame, I suppose. So the ball, let's start it like from here, and let's create a different layer. I'm not sure if they're gonna be segregated, like this layer. This is for layer 3. Oh, so it's which layer we choose, that layer we animate. Legit. Okay, so we have this ball here, and on bottom layer, I want to define just that in here. Oh yeah, Krita has this awesome ruler thing that memorizes where the pressure was while I was dragging the line. Love this feature. Okay, so this is the floor where the ball will be bouncing off and falling forward. So we do that and we animate the ball in this layer too. Alright, so let's figure out. Yeah, where are the here we have it, everything on the surface. Frame rate 24. Okay, 24 frames will be 1 second. That's a bit too much for a bouncing ball action. Like, the loop, or not really a loop, just the whole thing will be about 15 frames, I think. So I'm gonna move to the frame 15 and create a clean layer here. Clean frame. How do I do that? This is the button, right? Yeah, new frame. And copy frame would create a keyframe but keep the old ball in place. So this new frame, this is what we should assign a hotkey later. 2, 4, I suppose. Now, we need that onion skin, though. It's kind of set up already, I can see, but we need it to be further or something. We're 10 frames away. Okay, it doesn't really matter right now. We just need to show that the ball will bounce off and fall somewhere around here. Okay? So it's gonna be somewhere in the middle, a bit further to the end, because like the moment where the ball hits the floor. What we're doing right now is we are defining the keyframes of animation. Not the keyframes as the keyframes that I'm creating, because everything will be a keyframe. Keyframe as key positions. Like at first where the ball begins, then where the ball ends up being. And also we should define where and when it hits the floor. Now, I can see the beginning position. I don't think that onion is on. Oh, maybe we should turn on the light bulb. Yeah, there we go. So now we see that the ball will be over there. And when we were on this frame, we could have seen as well. By the way, we can see now that it should be bigger. So let's make that happen. Let's make the ball a bit bouncier than this, meaning it will bounce off a bit higher. It should never bounce off to the same height as where it was before. With each bounce, the ball will be losing its height. So at about this frame, right? So frame 8 and then 15, so it's gonna be smaller. Also, I know we need to define the length of the animation, so let's say 15. So when we press play, it will be looping in between these 15 frames. Yeah, so let's define, like, it's hitting like this and then going there. So, right about here. Let's do this awesome cartoonish deformation. Let's not overdo it though. Ah crap, I forgot to clean up this frame from this ball. I didn't press the new frame, I just started drawing on this frame when it was just nothing. And that's why that ball kept on existing. I gotta say, it's really comfortable. It actually feels more comfortable than Macromedia Flash, than Adobe Flash, than Adobe Animate. All of that is the same program, which I used for so long for animation. I did little stupid cartoons when I was in middle school, even. Yeah, so I did a lot of cartoons back then. They were really stupid, really flat looking and lame, but I had a lot of fun with them. So, I know a thing or two about animation, okay? I'm gonna regret saying that, I know. Outline selection tool. Yeah, there you go. S. What, it wasn't even assigned to anything else? Sweet! Now let's give it a try. Oh, left and right keys on the keyboard, just left and right arrows, are moving on the timeline. Cool. Okay, so we have this frame over here. Now, let's see. Now, basically, the way I do it usually, I didn't look up too much tutorials about it ever in my life. I was just experimenting for a while. And basically, you create these keyframes, and then you kind of split it in half. But not necessarily in half in time, like in half in distance, which is usually not the same as in half in time. Because movement very rarely happens to be linear. So this ball is gonna be moving really slowly in the beginning, then increasing its own speed and just hitting really fast, and then also same fast will be bouncing off the floor and slowing down to the end when getting here. So I'm gonna say the middle of this distance in between this position and this position, 1 and 2, will be like on frame 5. Can we zoom in, by the way? Probably can. Ooh, nice. You just click this little symbol and just drag left and right. Nice. Man, these are really good. I did not expect it to be that good. I mean, I haven't tried all that much of different frame-by-frame traditional raster animation programs lately. I remember TV Paint, which is literally one animation from that experiment, is the very first video on this channel. So anyway, this is gonna be somewhat of a middle. Should we like draw a trajectory? I think it's a good idea, right? Like actual line of how this thing is gonna be moving. It's so cool, we can quickly create... Oh, come on. There we go. Quickly create like a separate layer and draw something for us, and it's not gonna be a part of animation. It will be like separate thing, just whatever it is. Just a background or some kind of note like this. It should be a bit more parabolic. Actually, it shouldn't be, like, this ball shouldn't be that far away. Yeah, that's why you need trajectories, right? I think this is fair enough, and this one should be over here. This ball. Yup. Alright. Now, let's add this first division. So, presumably, like over here, let's erase this one first. We could also make like a deformation like this, but I think it's a good idea to only make it in the second half of the split, where the speed will be super high, like a cartoonish, you know? It's kind of like a hint on the motion blur, sort of. And also just whatever, it looks fun. You know what? I even feel like it should be here. Like we literally wanna increase the contrast of the speed during this movement here. I'm not sure, I didn't experiment with this kind of stuff all that much. So this one should be like right here, I think. Maybe tiny bit smaller. Alright. And the speed of bouncing off is going to be almost the same. Like the position, the height, well, slightly smaller, like literally we should use the proportions of this and scale it down. So the position of the just being bounced off ball will be like here. A little bit lower, but basically it's gonna be the same thing. I mean, it would be best to still like split it in half first and then divide it, but this is still a thing that's pretty clear here. So the half presumably gonna be in right the next frame. Ooh, I should save. There we go. Alright. I hope this is gonna play right. It's kinda hard to tell before. We're gonna still do it correctly mostly. We just created this frame ahead of everything. So let's split in half here. So this half, like this position, will be... it's kinda in the middle. There won't be actual middle then. Maybe in this frame, but it feels like a bit too much of a stretch. Yeah, let's just move this ball a little bit further ahead. Like, I don't know if there's like actual pure math behind it, where you can not just guess and rely on your own feeling of the pace, like the judgment like that. I'm pretty sure there are better tools to make sure that you create a perfect animation of free fall and bouncing. I'm pretty sure there's like really legit math behind it, but whatever. Oh, so it's actually showing not just nearest 5 frames, but nearest 5 existing frames. So it's skipping these, even like this. This is 6 frames away, but it's skipping these 3. This is the onion skin settings, like the transparency of it, by the way. It's an important thing so we could see all the frames. All the red ones, like you can choose color, the red ones are what happened before, and the green ones are the afterwards. In case you were wondering, forgot to mention that. So yeah, let's split the distance between these two positions. It's going to be slightly closer to this ball, because this is literally just one extra position. So if the middle is here and here, then this one will be, well, like here, I guess. Okay, let's split and have this position. So this is literally the middle, and we're going a little bit to the left again. Like, this is how you send a message that the speed is not linear, but getting faster with each frame. You divide by 2, like you find the middle frame, or nearest to the middle frame, and you shift the position a bit earlier than the actual middle distance. And if it's gonna be the opposite, like it's getting slower with time, then each frame will be leaving less and less distance to cover for the second half. And each half of the next second half of the frames you got left is gonna be like less and less distance for the second half. And it has to be like that everywhere. Even here, when it's like super small distance, we still have to be a little bit closer to the first frame. Because this change, if it will be weird, if it will be linear in here, our eye will actually catch that. Eyes are really spotting all the weirdness in the movement. So no place for cheating here. So right now I move it a bit closer to the last position here, because bouncing up is slowing down with time. It might have been a good idea to create like dots on this trajectory to define just centers, because that's the perfect solid way to define the distance that the ball is covering with each frame. And we would make it like this and then more and more dense, because right now we have something really wrong here. Like this distance is weird. Yeah, I moved it. This one should be closer to the right. Maybe like this will work. Okay, I think it's all good. Let's hide the layer with the trajectory and play the animation. Too fast! Wait, there's literally, we never see this frame. Oh, here it is. It's kinda lagging. Let's make it 12 frames per second, maybe it will work better. Okay, I would remove 1 frame from the beginning and maybe 1 frame from the end, like the very beginning and the end, because it feels like the ball is rolling off of something and then falling on the ground. It's like a bit too slow there. But other than that, it kind of feels legit. We can keep adding more frames, of course. Can I quickly select everything and just stretch it so they would, like, each frame would turn into 2 identical frames? That would be cool, but it's kind of hard to do, I guess. So this is frame 14, it's gonna be 28 if we add 1 extra frame everywhere. 28. 26. And just going every other frame like this. Okay, actually there's a thing in animation, like sometimes you can change the frame rate. Like whenever the speed is really high and it's important to like show better movement in some areas, you just do this and you only add extra frames in between where you need to show more movement, where the ball kind of disappears. I think it's a thing, because I see a lot of that in Animate, for instance. When they're just casually standing there and talking and moving, the frame rate can be like 10 or 8 or whatever frames per second. But when there's like a dynamic, awesome movement and something's awesome is going on, it's like almost 24, 25 frames per second. It's like super fast. So they change it a lot. I guess it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense when it's within just half a second, but who knows, maybe. So anyway, this frame is between this and this, slightly going further. And let's squish it a little bit, right? Oh, show me the trajectory, by the way. Wow, this is actually great workflow. I kind of love it. I mean, it's just a ball. If we would be making something more complex, it would be a bitch to work with, I think. Well, at least for the first time. But in general, since Krita is almost as comfortable as Photoshop for me, only because I constantly work in Photoshop, otherwise it's basically on the same level, Krita is pretty awesome. So this is an update, by the way. This is that new version, 3.01, I think, or something like that, about Krita. Yeah, this cool nighttime splash by Tyson 10. Thank you, Tyson, it looks really nice. So I think it's a little bit faster, but still, well, kind of heavy with big thick brushes anyway. But you know, I recently changed my whole approach with brushes. I don't use very dense spacing for everything, so I may as well paint in Krita sometimes. I think it will be actually working out. Oh, one thing I'm sure they removed in, like, fixed in this update is the lag between, like, when you're switching between a brush and the eraser mode of the same brush by pressing E. When it's changing the size, when you have this checkbox, eraser switch size. So when I switch, you can see it becomes a different size. And there's no lag anymore. I switch, I immediately erase, switch back by pressing E again. No lag, I can paint immediately right away. Really cool. So thank you guys for fixing that. Now, I feel like we're a bit too close to the green ball here, because it will feel like it's moving a bit too slow here. We should be the other way around, actually. What am I doing? What am I like? So, right? I think it makes sense. So let's add another frame right here. I'm not sure if this kind of shape makes a lot of sense. But I feel like it's possible. I hope it's not gonna look too stupid. And let's maybe add a frame in between these two. So it's slowing down now, so closer to the green. We are closer to the green, right? When this kind of deformation is going on, it's harder to tell. Alright, let's give this a ride. Boom. Boom. Okay, it's kinda legit. Right? Well, the size of the ball is jumping. Like, sometimes it's bigger, like in this frame. The ball is slightly bigger than the rest of the stages. But still, really cool looking, I like it. We don't always see all the stages in here. It might look weird if we actually would be able to see everything. How do we save it, like export it into some kind of video, right? Export animation. Oh my god! Cool, so we can export like sequences of different formats. But any kind of video maybe? Okay, maybe something else in here, because Now, I guess it's the only way. Otherwise, it's not really an export. It will be like rendering of some sort. Maybe Krita doesn't have that, or doesn't have that yet. Well, okay, I guess. Let's export in just simple JPEG. Oh yeah, we can actually work with that in Photoshop. Photoshop has caching. You notice that the first time it was really slow, and now we have like a green line on top of the timeline. That means it's cached into the RAM or maybe video memory of the graphics card. But now it's gonna be fast as I'm pressing, it's gonna be real time. Legit, I really love the bounce in here. Alright, alright. I'm so sorry for that. Like, yeah, the very first frames, maybe they should go away. Yeah, well, the movement is really horizontal in the beginning. It feels like it's rolling on the table or something. But this part is really good. So maybe we just remove extra couple of frames from the beginning. Okay, this is really good now, I think. So 20 frame bounce like this. So I guess I'll export this into the video, and there will be the very first borrow animation. Borrow tale. Borrow story. About a ball. The borrow ball. Why is it jumping? Where is it bouncing to? No one knows. So yeah, this is super fun. Ask me questions if you have any. Also, any suggestions about what to animate next? Something that I will handle. If you know how to progress in this kind of stuff the legit way. And yeah. I thank you for watching. If you did, I guess you did if you're here. I thank you for watching. If you did, I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Split it. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Who would have thought that I would have so much pleasure looking at balls?